been quite a long time. How are you, Puga?
Yeah, doing all right. Thanks for taking the time to join this call.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, the analogy that I use is, we make race cars, right? And you guys get to drive them. We don't get to drive them. So it's always exciting to hear the performance. How is it working out, and how is it? Is there anything we can do better? Both, right? I mean, no, I mean, you can share both positive and negative feedback. We're always looking for opportunities to improve the product, user experience, and anything. And at the end of the day, the mission is to make life easier for supply chain operators. So that's what it is.
hmm
So yeah, I mean, yeah, we can get started there.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely want to start with positive feedback. I don't have any negative. I have some suggestions or ideas or things that would help us down the road. But starting with positive, as a company, as an organization, we've been very, very happy with LoadProof.
Okay.
We have it set up in multiple sites currently. Some of them are campus-based models. Some of them are individual warehouses that are operating, kind of forward from our normal supply chain. And in each case, the user feedback is that the app is very easy. On the PC side, it's incredibly easy to search by load or seal number or container number or whatever it is they're looking for.
Yep.
So the user interface, absolutely no big opportunities there. We use it today, not so much as a cost savings, but as a differentiator with our customers.
Okay.
So when we approach new businesses, new customers, we will say, look, these are the suite of services that we offer. We can do A, B, C, D, E. And by the way, part of our supply chain is that we document all of our inbound and outbound loads. So you'll have access to signed bills of lading. You'll have access to the container number or an image of how a container or a trailer or a rail car, in our case, departed, as well as when it was arrived. So great feedback from the customers.
It's part of the solution stack, basically. You guys have made it
Yes.
part of the solution stack. Great, fantastic.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And it is, while some of our legacy customers, that their model is far more based on cost as opposed to different services or the holistic suite of services.
Yep.
Some of those customers we haven't implemented it with only because they are far more focused on, I just want this in, this out. I don't need to see pictures.
Yeah.
So there are a couple customers that for one reason or another have said not interested, but for all of the other ones and going forward, it is just kind of a core baseline of our business. We will offer this, we will add this site or these sites to our list as needed, and it's something that you'll get when you do business with G3, and the feedback's been phenomenal.
Great. So what G3 Enterprises is a 3PL that specializes on the wine industry, right? Like I've heard that grape to glass. You guys do pretty much everything for wine businesses. That's what it is.
Yes and no. So started with the wine business, originally part of Gallo Winery a long time ago. And there's three kind of companies today that are part of the Gallo family of brands. You have the Gallo Winery, which makes the wine.
Yep.
You have Gallo Glass, which obviously makes all the glass bottles. And then G3, which is the supply chain kind of arm of the organization. So we have a manufacturing division that makes labels, closures, prints on cork, makes the actual closures themselves. Excuse me. We have a sand mine that provides sand and all the raw materials to the glass plant.
Oh, great.
Our logistics division obviously does all of the movement, not just for finished goods, but for raw materials as well. So we have about 2,000 grape trailers.
Yep.
That will move grapes between Gallo facilities. We have 50 or 60 tankers that will move, liquid wine between different crush facilities and bottling facilities. So there's a huge suite of services that all the points of the supply chain that Gallo doesn't do directly, G3 offers to kind of close the gap. And because we're a different company, just like Gallo Glass, we have the ability to buy and sell with competitors to Gallo.
Oh.
So
okay.
We have several other wineries that we do business with. Mock Flint, which is a huge conglomerate of wineries.
Wow.
Naked Wines, First Leaf. There's a whole slew of different wineries and distributors that we're able to support. Use some of the same warehouses, some of the same distribution practices, but because we're not technically Gallo Winery.
Very interesting. I mean, they've nicely set that business model up, right? I mean, they set up a separate organization and even able to support the competitors. That's very, very smart.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works very well.
Yeah.
Most of our facilities are dedicated to either Gallo or non-Gallo. There's only a few that have the product kind of sitting side by side, and it's usually by exception only. But the non-Gallo side of the business is what we predominantly use LoadProof for, is continuing to grow.
Yep.
So we have, in addition to wine and the alcohol space, we also have several other similar commodities. So we do quite a bit of business with Del Monte, with canned fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
We do quite a bit of business right now with Waiakea Water, and we're in the middle of contract negotiations with Fiji Water.
Yeah, I've talked to them. They're the Hawaii-based water company, right?
Yep.
I think we've done a demo for them. Yeah.
Yep. All of their product is already being used with LoadProof through us, so it's very easy for them. They like the pictures. They're very familiar with it.
Nice.
And then Fiji Water as well, which we're potentially putting into a Chicago location. So
great.
Yeah, similar products. We also have the reason that originally we got involved with LoadProof was for Fonterra, which is dried milk powder.
Yeah.
They ship in the big super sacks that are 2,000 pounds, and they had a lot of quality assurance asks very early in the process, and they want to make sure they could see pictures of the load both at the receiving and the shipping perspectives.
Got it.
So yeah, everything nowadays we utilize LoadProof for, and the portfolio continues to grow beyond the wine industry. So
Great.
We like to say it's the food and beverage industry, because it's not just wine anymore. But
great.
Most of our distribution strength is based on rail.
Yeah.
We are the second largest customer of BNSF.
Oh, great.
Nationally, and I think we're in the top 5 for the Union Pacific as well. So we ship a ton of rail cars around the United States.
Yep.
Wine is a huge commodity that travels well just because of the weight with the glass bottles.
Yep.
It lends itself very well to rail, where you can absorb that weight easily, as opposed to trucks where, even if you subtract it, you can fit roughly 4 truckloads into a rail car.
Wow.
Sometimes the rail or the truck side, it's still too heavy. Especially with wine, where you're constantly getting to the top end of the weight spectrum. So rail, I want to say it's 250,000 pounds, give or take, for a rail car that you can ship. So it's quite a bit.
Nice.
So that is one of the other areas that we're starting to use LoadProof quite a bit at. Is as we load rail cars, we'll load 4 pallets in.
Yep.
It's 2 side by side, 2 top to bottom, so it's just it's 4. We'll load 4, we'll put the dunnage or the airbag in, we'll take a photo.
Yep.
Then we'll load 4 more, put dunnage and airbags in, take a photo, and so on and so forth. So by the end of the rail car, once all fully loaded, we'll have 20 or 22 or 24 photos, and it's perfect.
Nice.
It's very easy then at the destination, if there is any shifting or any damage, to go back and see kind of every layer. Where did this go wrong? Is this something that we did? Is it something the rail lines did? And then file a claim accordingly. Great,
fantastic. So what has been from your vertical, coming from, I'll share a quick story. I was one day buying, stuff, that's my weekly chore, buying stuff from Costco. And I was, there is the Rayo's, marinara sauce that's pretty popular. And we picked that up. I was just looking at this bottle and asked the lady at the counter, hey, how often does this break? She was like, oh, this doesn't break so much. You know what breaks? Wine bottles. That's,
yes.
It dawned on me, the challenges. So, what is the challenge that's specific to this vertical that you guys have,
With rail, specifically with wine, it's shifting. So rail cars will often, if you're shipping from, say, the West Coast to the East Coast, they'll typically go south through Arizona, New Mexico, and then eventually, because they're trying to get around the mountains, and they'll come up. You might ship 10 rail cars a day.
Okay.
Instead of every location always having 10 rail cars, they will kind of bunch up in, say, Arizona, where you'll get 80 or 90 or 100, and then they'll pull those 100 together.
Okay.
Every time they kind of bunch during their journey, there's a lot of instances where rail cars are being crammed together very quickly.
Yeah.
That's how they connect them in their own yards, as they might have 4 or 5 cars from customer A and 4 or 5 from B and 4 or 5 from customer C, and they're all going to the same place.
Yep.
So they'll chain them together, or they'll link them together.
That's like the hub terminal for the trucks.
Yep.
Okay.
But the process of connecting them is I don't want to say it's violent. It's referred to in the industry as humping.
Okay.
But they will literally just ram 5 cars right into the next 5
Wow,
and then take
okay.
those next 5 and ram them right into the next 5. And it connects as they're doing it. But every time you have that impact,
there is shifting could happen. Yeah.
Forward motion, you have shifting, and if you don't have the right blocking and bracing, that's where you get the damage.
Great. So that's what you guys try to prevent. I mean, the humping. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, you know,
there's nothing we can do about the rail yards. You know, they're going to behave as they're going to behave. We have very little control, and the rail lines are. Class 1 railroads are huge. They have, you know, their own sphere of influence. It's an organized, you know, mob essentially.
Okay.
So there's nothing we can do about their behavior in their own yards. However, we are able to document very clearly up front, this is how we loaded. This is the standard that we loaded to.
Okay.
You as the railroad have approved the standard.
Yeah.
Therefore, if there's any damage, it's on you to cover.
Okay.
So, and that approach has been moderately successful.
Okay, so that's you guys file claims with BSNF or Union Pacific.
Yes.
Okay, nice.
Yep.
So
it's not frequent, but
okay.
We've learned how to block and brace the rail cars at this point to minimize that damage, so that even if they are, you know, having impact, and there's all other little tricks that we'll do. You know, you can put impact sensors on the vehicles. You can
Correct.
put GPS. You know, there's other things like that we can then take back to the rail line and say, not only do we have this damage, we loaded to your standards, we have photo documentation, and we have shock sensors that we put into the car that recorded these impacts that,
Correct.
you know, X amount of force per square inch, which is above your standard. And
Yep.
Anyway, so there's all kinds of ways to, you know, go back and request those kind of credits.
Great. So you can also improve the packing, right? I mean, but again, you know, there is, you know, cost versus benefit. You know, you got to pay attention to, you know, there is no point in putting so much packing and then it turns out you're spending more on packing than instead of, you know, managing the
Yep.
whole thing. Okay, that is also there. Okay, great. Okay, so that's an interesting challenge with the rail card. So now with photos, you guys are able to at least have a better conversation, because we have another customer that has a very, very similar challenge. And you know, the thing with the rail cards is that you got only 2 options, or maybe 3 or 4 options, right? Not like, you know, 10 or 20 you know, carriers that you can call and, you know, get them to show up.
Right. And with rail, it's really only one.
Okay.
The class 1s do different, you know, parts of the country. There's very little overlap. So, you know, if you want to ship from, say, here to Chicago, you really have 1 or maybe 2 choices.
So the class 1 is for the weight, right? For the density, right?
It's also the size of the rail. But yes, it's tied to their weight and what they can handle.
Density, okay.
The way that it typically works is there's 5 or 6 class 1 railroads in the U.S.
Okay.
They are more or less in kind of the 4 quadrants of the U.S. Northeast, Southeast, Northwest, Southwest. There's obviously some level of overlap. And those class 1 railroads will take the long haul of the rail car, but when it gets to a Chicago or it gets to Memphis or wherever it's going, there's usually a short line railroad
Yep.
that will go from, you know, the main terminal for, you know, say it's BNSF or whomever, that will go there, and then will shuttle essentially rail cars to individual warehouses that are rail served. That the major railroads are just dealing with the long hauls. It's these short lines that kind of pop up that do all the small stuff.
Got it. Okay, great, fantastic. You know, I mean, you know, so what are, you know, some of the opportunities for improvement, or what can we do better for you guys, you know?
So I think that there's a couple small things, and again, they're truly enhancements. They're not gaps today.
Okay.
I do think the ability to, right now, we will send automated emails to customers saying, hey, you know, this load shipped. Here's your emails if you want to click on the link and see the photos. Having some of those fields in the email customizable, or in the subject line, things like that we could go in and say, this is the message we want to add, a default message. I've tried to go in and use some of the tools some of the metadata to say, I want load number to appear in the subject line, or I want order number. It doesn't quite work the way it should, or it never, you know, populates. So some added functionality there would be appreciated.
Okay.
One other option for users that are on the warehouse floor. So if we have a warehouse that has, say, 10 customers, to get them to send the email automatically, they have to scroll down on a list where they put in, you know, the load number or the seal number or whatever, after they take all the photos
Yep.
in kind of that data entry section, which, by the way, being able to enter it in manually or hit the blue button and scan it is a
Yep.
huge win.
Yep.
A lot of operators love to scan it with the phone. So anyways, but when they're scrolling down through that screen,
Yep.
if we have 10 or 15 customers in a warehouse,
Yeah.
we have to build all of those as send email to customer A, yes or no. Send email to customer B, yes or no. Email to customer C, yes or no. And then they have to go and find the right customer, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes
the way
sense.
we've sent it up.
Yeah. I mean, there is also not sure if you folks learned about this. There is also a new customer ID that you can, configure.
Okay.
Yeah. There is a customer master, customer ID that you can configure and then associate email addresses with that, and then you can choose it. Just choose that, and then it'll send that email to that customer.
That'd be phenomenal. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, when you folks have some time.
And having said that, Bill, those two announcements, I would definitely work with the team and maybe schedule a call later, a quick call, so that we can even improve and take advantage of the more capabilities that we have developed in the recent months as well.
Yeah, that would be phenomenal. I appreciate that, Shiv. Thank you. I wasn't aware that that. I know we've been asking for that for a while, so I'm glad to hear that's an enhancement that's come through.
Yeah.
Outstanding. One other question around enhancements. So we are in the process of launching a customer portal where our customers can log in. They have access to our WMS, our warehouse management system, for inventory, for order entry, for all of that kind of stuff, their invoices. Additionally, it gives them access to our TMS system, our transportation management system. They can see their load.
Yep.
It connects to 4Kites, which is our GPS tool.
Yeah.
I've heard of 4Kites. Yep. All this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I would absolutely love if there is a way to then, whether we use order number or load number, but to take a common field,
add a link right? Exactly, to LoadProof.
To where they could click on and say, hey, I shipped order 1, 2, 3. I know that it's left.
Yep.
I want to track it, and I want to click a button or a tab, and it will, whether embedded is even better, but if not, if it just then takes you to LoadProof and says, and by the way, here are photos of the signed bill of lading, the seal, the load is it left, whatever we took photos of. Anytime, I don't know even what level of integration you as a company offer, but if that's potentially an option, it would be a massive win for us and our customers.
We have a lot of integration opportunities. We have APIs that what system that this whole customer portal is built on?
I think it's between API and EDI. We have both configured depending on from a connection standpoint. I can go back and ask the IT team.
Correct. We can provide APIs, and if there's like we actually, this is pretty common among the 3PL that we've seen other 3PLs do the same thing where they provide that portal that's built and all information coming from WMS, TMS, and even LoadProof. We have done this before, and we can provide APIs, and you guys can integrate it pretty fast. So wherein they log into their portal, and then they can look at their orders and then click a link, and then that opens that LoadProof, like how it does it in an email.
Yeah.
Right?
What we have done also, Bill, is like many workflow management software or any other tool. What we do is once they log in, we'll have a link associated with the common factor you mentioned. Maybe it's an order number or any different ID. We just need a common parameter, and it will show up a link where clicking on that will open up a different page, a view page, where they can even print and see the photos of the order that they're looking for. So it gives them more visibility.
Correct.
That would be phenomenal. Shiv, when it's time we're probably not far off, a few weeks, a month or so, from having some of those conversations. Would it be you to have them connect with? I can do introductions, or is it somebody else on your team?
So I would initiate the discussions. I also have one of the members from our tech team join the call. And once we have gathered all the initial requirements, then we will come up with all the surroundings and see when we can have the solution ready for the team.
That'd be phenomenal. Yeah, that'd be a huge win.
That'll be nice.
Last idea or thought, is there, if we did eventually have integration with, say, our internal WMS, would there be an option to where an operator, instead of opening LoadProof on their phone, taking the photos, there's an inbound, right? Or there's an outbound or whatever it is, and they take photos and they associate all the fields. Could you do it the opposite way? Is there a model where the operator could open their phone up and it would say, you have these 3 inbounds for this building scheduled today, and I already have all of the metadata pre-populated because I'm connected.
Yep.
which one of these are you receiving? And the operator clicks it and just takes photos and hits submit, and they don't have to enter anything.
It's more system driven rather than the operator
Yes.
driven.
Correct.
Yeah, so we got
An idea.
Yeah, no, that's a great. We have kind of getting that feedback now as well. It's like hey, push the loads from WMS into LoadProof, and then the system drives the user rather than the user deciding. I mean, the benefit with that is, right, when the system drives, you can hold the user accountable, saying that, hey, did you make sure you captured pictures of all the loads that were created in the WMS, right?
We currently have an internal audit, but we're only doing it once a week or so, where myself or another warehouse manager will go through and they will pick 5 loads at random.
Yeah.
And say, hey, I want to make sure that we have the bill of lading and all the documentation signed or stamped. I want to see that it was received correctly in the WMS, that everything matches, and I want to see the LoadProof photos that they match. But to your point, it would be so much better to be able to look at a report or on a dashboard and say, I had 100 orders this month and I took photos on 95 of them, and then be able to go to the operator for the other 5 and say, what happened? Why was this a miss? Our customer expects 100% photos. So yeah, I know that it's very early days and that might be, a development idea down the road, but
that's a great idea. What is your WMS?
we have Softion today.
Softion, okay. We can start a conversation. So basically what that means is that we got to have this WMS integrated with LoadProof, where they push a button in Softion, the loads get downloaded into LoadProof, and then we capture, system driven from that point onwards. It's, the user, it shows up for the user and he just chooses the load, takes photos and then ties it to the load, and then, that's all in the cloud, and that's also integrated with Softion. From Softion, they can click and see the photos in LoadProof as well. That's a very, we can see if we can maybe initiate a conversation. Maybe when we're trying to do stuff like this, it's much more easier to have a customer come in and say, hey, this would benefit if you guys build this integration. We can see how we can make that happen.
Yeah, and if you need somebody to be the guinea pig, to be the test case, we are more than happy to serve. I just started the role that I'm in now a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
So I now, from a business standpoint, I own all warehouse systems and compliance. So this is very much my world going forward.
Okay.
I could represent the business with any of these conversations. And we as a company, because we're continuing to grow, we're getting bigger very quickly. We have our IT team has been incredibly busy with integration between Softion, between our TMS, which is Oracle, and between this customer portal and any of these other integration points with customers. We're starting to move away from manual order entry and all that kind of stuff with the customer service team to having full EDI or API integrations with every customer. So all inbounds and outbounds are pre-built.
Okay.
Inventory is readily available. We're trying to get to the 21st century. We're getting close.
Yeah, nice. I mean, so that EDI with all the retailers, like everybody.
Yep.
Okay, Walmart, Costco, all those guys.
Yeah, it's turning out to be a massive time savings. My challenge now is that I have to go into Softion and a few other systems and clean up old data that nobody closed an order out or nobody closed something out. But again, my cross to bear, not yours. So but yeah, LoadProof continues to be a huge piece of our business model as we, try to win new business, and all of the stuff in the past where myself or Steven have said, hey, we'd really like this feature, we'd like that. Sure enough, it seems to come out, down the road at some point in enhancement. So yeah, I appreciate you listening to the feedback and entertaining it. And, if there's an opportunity to work it into your model and it helps other customers as well, we're more than happy to help build that out for you.
Okay, great, fantastic. We'll see how we can, initiate a conversation with Softion. That'll be nice to have. It'll be system driven.
And if we need to do it as well, the focus now is getting LoadProof into the customer portal. That would be phenomenal.
Okay.
But having Softion push some of that stuff into LoadProof, again, when we're ready for that kind of a conversation, I'm more than happy to pair you up. It's a larger company. We were our IT team and myself were just out at they had a conference in Virginia last week. Actually, we were both just out there.
Okay.
So we met with them and talked through some of these great ideas. So they have a team ready to go on standby as soon as we're ready. So
wow, nice.
Yeah, nice. We'll start small, but really excited for more integration.
Nice. I mean, it's nice to have such a partner, right? From all the
Yes.
different systems and the functional areas. That's nice. Great.
What do you need from us? Is there anything that we can do to help you, or test on your behalf, or give you a tour of, or any way that we can assist you?
I think, I mean, thank you for asking that question. I mean, that itself, but, it's all about, the challenges that you folks have and how we can solve those challenges. I think the integration conversations would definitely help. What we can do is, we'll take all this down, and then we'll, go back and, just go back to, we have a, product development roadmap that's planned out based on requests that come like this. I think the couple of things, I don't know what is the operating system or what is the database, what is the platform that's built, the customer portal is built on. So based on that, we can, help you guys pretty quickly integrate that with LoadProof. That's one thing. And then this will be an interesting conversation with Softion. If we can get those loads fed into a LoadProof, that'll be really nice. Yeah. So I'll come back on that, right? I'll come back on the next steps. How we can facilitate that conversation and make it happen. I think that's it for now. I mean, it's really right. I wanted to, I'm trying to make this more of a regular cadence where talk to customers and understand, the use cases and really, right, what is that we can do better, and how, especially, right, what are some of the new challenges, the changing trends, all the things that are bringing up, and how we can be better prepared to, serve you guys. That's the spirit of the conversation. Yeah.
No, it's appreciated, and I'm more than happy to meet at whatever cadence you guys would like. I love the dialogue and sharing ideas and being able to provide that feedback. It's very value add. So thank you.
Awesome.
And if either of you are out in California anytime soon, we'll gladly give you a tour around the area. If you're
nice.
Interested.
Where are you guys in California?
We're up north. We're in Northern California, so sort of near San Francisco, Sacramento, that whole area. Up in the north.
I've spent time in the Napa Valley.
We have multiple facilities up there.
Okay, so I think I went to a really nice Indian restaurant in Vacaville. Once. I was there is a Meyer Corporation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I've spent some time, few weeks there. I gave them some wearables, and also long ago, 2023. I that was my first time there. I spent some time in. They had a fancy place, right in the middle of Napa Valley. Wine. What is it? It's
It's wine. Yeah, the wine center of the U.S.
Yeah, so that was really nice. So it looks like you guys are in that area.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. We have a couple of facilities up there.
Okay.
There's a Central Valley that's about 2 hours away from there that our headquarters is in. But we have facilities all over. So if either you or your team is ever in the area, we're more than happy to give you a tour. It's always good to see.
That'll be great. Fantastic. I mean, thank you very much for the time. This is very useful and very helpful.
We're just closing on time. Yeah, just wanted to thank Bill for joining the call. We really appreciate the partnership, and we are building on LoadProof, adding more sites, and hopefully we continue this long-term relation. We'll be there for any support you need, any questions, concerns. You just ping us, and we'll be there for all the help is required from.
Yep,
I appreciate it. No, thank you to both of you for making the time. Truly appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bill.
Thank you
so much.
Thanks. Take care.
Thank you, Shep.
Enjoy.
Thank you for setting this up. Bye.
Yes, Puga. Yeah, it was good.
That was